Welcome back to Be Fluent in Russian podcast. Today we have reading Chekhov, another part of our Dama с собачкой readings. I love reading this stuff and I want to get to know Gurov and Anna Sergeevna a bit deeper with this episode, and I hope you are too. The format will be as always, I'll read one line, then translate it, then talk about most important things, and then read the whole part that we have covered in this podcast all together. So you get to really train your listening a bit, but also learn some expressions and phrases that Russian authors use. Not just Russian natives. Now, these are masters of Russian word. Their word is masterful. And we can learn something from them, all of us, me and you. So let's get right into this. Он долго ходил по комнате и вспоминал, и улыбался. И потом воспоминания переходили в мечты, и прошедшее в воображении мешалось с тем, что будет. He walked around the room for a long time, recalling, smiling, and then the memories turned into dreams. And the past and his imagination mingled with what would come. So past would mingle with the future. As a reminder, he couldn't forget Anna Sергeyevna. He's back in Moscow. They are no longer in Yalta anymore. He is back in Moscow. But he couldn't forget her like he thought he would forget her, like any other woman that he has forgotten that he had a romance with. So, let's talk about verbs in this sentence. Долго ходил was walking around for a long time. Ходил means the process here matters. He walked around for a long time. Вспоминал. Вспоминал means to remember, to recall something, to remind yourself about something. Улыбался means he was smiling. Then и потом воспоминания переходили в мечты, and then the memories turned to or transferred to dreams. And then final verb, actually two more, мешалось means mingled or mixed with. Мешалось. Будет means will be. Анна Сергеевна не снилась ему, а шла за ним всюду, как тень, и следила за ним. Anna Sergeyevna didn't appear in his dreams, but followed him everywhere, like a shadow, watching him. Imagine. you don't have a person in your dreams, but they are always with you. Maybe he has gone a little bit mad. Who knows? Закрывши глаза, он видел ее, как живую, и она казалась красивее, моложе, нежнее, чем была. И сам он казался себе лучше, чем был тогда в Ялте. With his eyes closed, he saw her as if she were alive, and she seemed more beautiful, younger, more tender than she had been. Or more. Нежнее means, tender or more softer. Not really tender, I feel like it's more on the touch. When you touch something, it's tender. But нежнее can be also more of a softer in the appearance, in the way the person can carry themselves, etc. And he himself seemed better than he had been then in Yalta, or he looked at himself and saw himself better than he was in Yalta. Now, here we have как живую, as if she were alive. In English, the translation is like as if she were alive, as if she's dead right now, but he saw her alive. Как живую means as a living person. He saw her in front of himself as if she was real. So как живую can be translated as if she were alive or as if she were real. And here we have four comparative adjectives. When we say better, smarter, things like that. Красивее, more beautiful. Моложе, younger. Нежнее, more soft or softer. And лучше, better. So from the first sentence, we took away some verbs. Now we focus on adjectives and comparative adjectives. Then она по вечерам глядела на него из книжного шкафа, из камина, из угла. Он слышал ее дыхание, ласковый шорох ее одежды. In the evenings, she looked at him from the bookcase, from the fireplace, from the corner. He heard her breathing, the gentle rustle of her clothes. She is following him. По вечерам, in the evenings. По вечерам, when something happens regularly. Из камина из угла он слышал ее дыхание, ласковый шорох ее одежды. There's not much to really pinpoint here. All these words are kind of standard. You can just read the text yourself as well with the description to this podcast. We have this stuff there as well. So there's not really much to comment on here. На улице он провожал взглядом женщин, искал, нет ли похожей на нее. On the street or outside, he followed women with his eyes, searching for someone who resembled her. Isn't that crazy? But the translation is a bit off. Он провожал взглядом женщин. He followed women with his eyes. Искал, searching. Нет ли похожей на нее? Isn't there one looking like her? So нет ли, is there one or isn't there one? Can there be a one who looked like her? И уже томило сильное желание поделиться с кем-нибудь своими воспоминаниями. And the strong desire to share his memories with someone began to torment him. Томило желание, when your desire torments you or is heavy on you. Томить is not really to be torturing or to torment someone, but to be heavy on somebody's shoulders. Okay, and then another one, воспоминаниями means memories. So he wanted to share. Поделиться here means to share. Поделиться воспоминаниями means to share your memories. Но дома нельзя было говорить о своей любви, а вне дома не с кем. But at home, he couldn't talk about his love, and outside of home, there was no one to talk to. So, great sentence. A lot of things that are implied here. Дома нельзя было говорить. At home, you were not allowed to talk or you couldn't talk. Нельзя. Нельзя means you're not allowed, it's prohibited, it's impossible. But we have дома, at home, and then the second part of the sentence, вне дома, outside of home. Or when you're not at home, нельзя было говорить. Okay? So нельзя here is an adverb. We have a second part of this sentence where we also have another adverb that is не с кем. Не с кем, it's three separate things. Не, not, с, with, кем, who. Not with who. Or, as the whole translation is, nobody to. So the sentence literally is translated like this. At home, you couldn't talk about your love, and outside of home, nobody to. Nobody to talk to. So you could talk outside of home, but there was nobody to talk to. So we have this structure of дома нельзя, at home you can't, вне дома не с кем, outside of home nobody to. So the author uses this kind of context to paint a picture to not really have to say, at home you cannot talk about your love, and outside of home there is nobody to talk to about your love, using a lot of words. He shortens it to just simply say дома нельзя, вне дома не с кем. And this structure не с кем, great structure. Use this for your own Russian as well. Не с кем means nobody with, or there is nobody to. Не с кем. For example, I can say не с кем поговорить. There is nobody to talk to. Не с кем поехать. There is nobody to drive with. Let's say you want to go on a trip. Let's say for me, for example, right, I love snowboarding, but I snowboard pretty well. And all of my friends here in the States, for example, they don't snowboard that well. So I don't have a buddy to snowboard with. I can say мне не с кем поехать кататься. Мне, to me, не с кем, nobody with, поехать, to go. There's nobody for me to go with to ride. That's kind of the sentence structure there and the logic. I hope you're catching what I'm saying. Of course, without writing or seeing this in writing, it's hard to understand sometimes. So I hope you're following. Не с жильцами же и не в банке. И о чем говорить? Not with the tenants or at the bank. Or what could he say? Or what could he talk about? Не с жильцами же. It's obvious that not with the tenants of his apartment complex I'm taken. И не в банке, and not at the bank. And then the question, и о чем говорить? And what to talk about? And what is there to talk about? Разве он любил тогда? Разве было что-нибудь красивое, поэтическое или поучительное, или просто интересное в его отношениях к Анне Сергеевне? Did he love her then? And this we have разве он любил тогда? We just posted a video on разве, and if you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it on YouTube, on Be Fluent. You just type in разве, R-A-Z-V-E in the search. Разве он любил тогда? Did he love her then? And this разве would challenge a belief, would challenge a statement. If we simply said, он любил тогда, did he love then? Did he love her then? That's more for the information. But разве он любил тогда? Is it true that he loved her then? So we are challenging this sentence. We're not inquiring for information. We are challenging, did he actually love her then? Next sentence. Разве было что-нибудь красивое? Was there anything beautiful? Or is it true that there was something beautiful? Right? So it's a challenge of a statement again. Поэтическое, poetic. Или поучительное, or teaching, or instructive. Или просто интересное, or just interesting. В его отношениях к Анне Сергеевне, in his relationship with Anna Sergeevna. So this part, he says, there's nobody to talk to, not at the bank, not at the apartment complex. And what is there to talk about? Did he even love her? Or is it true that he loved her? We're challenging this statement of did he love her or not? Was there something smart or beautiful or poetic or even interesting in their relationship? What is there to talk about? It's a simple love affair. Nothing interesting. But he wanted to share that. And this разве here helps us to be more cynical in a way. To be more of like, is this true that he loved her? Is this true that there was anything interesting, beautiful, poetic, etc.? Разве is a very powerful word. И приходилось говорить неопределенно о любви, о женщинах, и никто не догадывался, в чем дело. И только жена шевелила своими темными бровями и говорила: «Тебе, Дмитрий, совсем не идет роль фата». And so he had to speak vaguely about love. Неопределенно here means vaguely or very indirectly. Неопределенно о любви, vaguely about love, о женщинах, about women, и никто не догадывался, and no one guessed what it was about. And only his wife would raise her dark eyebrows and say, Dmitri, the role of a philanderer does not suit you at all. So the role of this self-loving, this person who enters relationships casually, in Russian is fat, okay? But fat is a very old language, fat. Роль фата means role of a philanderer. Again, the role of a philanderer doesn't fit you. So stop talking about this love and these women that you can only talk about vaguely. Однажды ночью, выходя из докторского клуба со своим партнером, чиновником, он не удержался и сказал: «Если б вы знали, с какой очаровательной женщиной я познакомился в Ялте». One night, as he was leaving the doctor's club with his partner, an official or a politician. Чиновник is a person who takes a certain official position or is a politician, is a person who takes a political role, who can decide upon some laws and regulation, things like that. He couldn't resist and said, if you only knew what a charming woman I met in Yalta. Однажды ночью. Однажды means once upon a time. Ночью, at night, выходя из докторского клуба, Он не удержался. He couldn't resist. He couldn't control himself. Удержаться means to hold yourself, because держ as a stem means to hold. He couldn't hold himself, and сказал, and said, если б вы знали, only if you knew. Если бы вы знали, only if you knew. С какой очаровательной. Очаровательной means charming. And then познакомился means met or got acquainted with. Then, next sentence, чиновник сел в сани и поехал. Но вдруг обернулся и окликнул. Дмитрий Дмитриевич! Что? А давеча вы были правы. Осетрина-то с душком. The official got into his sleigh and drove off. Or rode off. Because you don't really drive your sleigh. You have a person driving your sleigh. So this is back, in maybe 1800s, where they don't have cars, of course, and it's the winter, so you would ride a sleigh to go to places. And so he probably had a person, like a driver of his sleigh, just waiting for him to finish his gaming at Doctor's Club, and he is driving off, or he is riding off. But suddenly turned around and called out, Dmitry Dmitrich, so addressing Dmitry Gurov as first and patronymic. What? You were right earlier. The sturgeon was a bit off. Okay, so the fish was a bit off. He just confessed to him about his love, or his love affair that he wanted to just get rid of. He was keeping it in for so long, and finally he couldn't resist and said, oh, imagine this woman that I've met in Yalta. But his person that he's talking to, this official, says, oh yeah, about that fish, it's kind of off. Not given any time or any value to what Gurov just said. To break it down, но вдруг обернулся, but suddenly turned around. Обернуться means to turn around. Окликнул and called out or screamed. Вы были правы. You were right. С душком means a bit off, or to have a bit of a smell. С душком. Душок is something like an odd smell of something. We're going to finish it right here. We're going to be done right here. Let me mark this part so I can know where to start next time. But now, let me read this whole part from top to bottom. There we go. Он долго ходил по комнате и вспоминал, и улыбался, а потом воспоминания переходили в мечты, и прошедшее в воображении мешалось с тем, что будет. Анна Сергеевна не снилась ему, а шла за ним всюду, как тень, и следила за ним. Закрывши глаза, он видел ее, как живую, и она казалась красивее, моложе, нежнее, чем была. И он сам казался себе лучше, чем был тогда, в Ялте. Она по вечерам глядела на него из книжного шкафа, из камина, из угла. Он слышал ее дыхание, ласковый шорох ее одежды. На улице он провожал взглядом женщин, искал, нет ли похожей на нее. И уже томилось сильное желание поделиться с кем-нибудь своими воспоминаниями. Но дома нельзя было говорить о своей любви, а вне дома не с кем. Не с жильцами же и не в банке. И о чем говорить? Разве он любил тогда? Разве было что-нибудь красивое, поэтическое или поучительное, или просто интересное в его отношениях к Анне Сергеевне? И приходилось говорить неопределенно о любви, о женщинах, и никто не догадывался, в чем дело. И только жена шевелила своими темными бровями и говорила: «Тебе, Дмитрий, совсем не идет роль фата». Однажды ночью, выходя из докторского клуба со своим партнером, чиновником, он не удержался и сказал: «Если б вы знали, с какой очаровательной женщиной я познакомился в Ялте». Чиновник сел в сани и поехал, но вдруг обернулся и окликнул: «Дмитрий Дмитриевич, Что? А давеча вы были правы. Осетрина-то с душком? That is all. Hope this was useful. It was definitely useful to me, knowing that nobody cared about his love and about the fact that he was keeping something inside because he was never honest with anybody. And that is all. See you guys over at Be Fluent. Learn to speak Russian better to your family and friends and have more fun as you're learning. Learn the real Russian, not the book Russian and all the grammar drilling that we tend to do as learners. Check it out with the first link in the description, and it has a free 7-day trial. You can try it out for 7 days and see if you like it or not. But that's all. See you guys next time. Пока-пока.